So, welcome to Graphs with Mr. Molden. This is episode 1. In this episode, we're going to be talking about production possibilities curves. In a production possibilities curve, we're showing the production of any two items. So, in this case, in our new Nerdtopia that we will be operating in throughout this video series, we can produce two things here. We can produce these wonderful Batgirl action figures. These are the type of nerd daughters that I'm raising. Or we can produce these awesome forkmen, completely posable. Look at this. This is awesome. All right, he can do cartwheels. This fork is highly sought after in my household. All right, so these are our two production possibilities. We'll come back to them later. All right, but before we get to looking at the graphs, a couple quick overview of things, a few things that you should have remembered from class and covered in class. Number 1, we must make choices. Why? Good question. Because of the idea of scarcity. Remember that? It's the idea that we have unlimited wants and needs as human beings, but limited amount of resources to fulfill those wants and needs. And this leads to us having to make trade-offs. The idea that you have to give up something in order to get something else. I have to give up some of these in order to get these. I can't have tons of both of them. All right, and these trade-offs bring us back to the production possibilities curves. So there we go. Let's start looking at graphs. So in looking at production possibilities curves, we have our two items that are being made. In this case, we have our forkmen or our Batgirl action figures. All right, and using the graph, we can show the concepts of trade-offs. If we were to, in Nerdtopia here, make only forkmen, we would have a complete production of forkmen, but then we can make none of these lovely Batgirl action figures. Or we can make only Batgirl action figures, but then we'd have none of these awesome forkmen. So, what we do is, in like most societies in the world, they make some of both. And so, therefore, there is a trade-off. And this curve, or actually in this case it's a straight line, but we're talking theoretical here, this curve shows these trade-offs. This curve is known as the Production Possibilities Frontier, or PPF for short. All right. If we are producing only here or only here, we are specializing in the production of one thing with the complete ignoring the production of something else when we have resources to produce both things. We'll get into trade and advantages of that later, but do remember that. So what this line shows is that when we produce some of each, we have to give up the ability to produce something else. So like if originally we were making 10 and 0, both of those, if we were going to make 8 forkmen, that means we now have the ability to make 2 Batgirls. If this was a 1-for-1 trade, we're keeping things simple here. All right, and if I wanted to make more Batgirls, increasing the production of Batgirls, I have to give up something. In this case, it will be the production of forkmen, because I cannot continue the mass production of both. And here's why. The reason why, through the magic of video editing here, I have a new graph, is that this line, being the production possibilities frontier, is the maximum that I can produce. That's it. Can't go any more. So anything out here, not possible. Now, what this does mean is that anywhere on that line is possible and efficient. But it also means that anywhere inside that line, while it is possible, we'll pick this one just for sake, it is possible, but not efficient. And in the words of Sheldon on Big Bang Theory, Hulk sad. And one last thing about production possibilities curves. Things change. So say we were going to take over our rival state, that of Geekville, and we took control of all of their resources. We enslaved all those fellow geeks with their pocket protectors. We now have all of their resources, so we can now make more Forkmen and more Batgirls. So we get to draw a new line to the right. We talk right and left in this class, not up and down. So this green line that you can barely see on the video, trust me, it's a green line. It is to the right, shows an increase in production of all things. All right, now, say for some reason that Nerdtropia was invaded by some unruly group. All right, and that unruly group slowed down our production rate, or worse yet, they took over our resources. They would have therefore made it harder for us to produce, or decreased our ability to produce both Forkmen and Batgirls. And so it would have shifted the curve to the left. Right increase, left decrease. This will be a theme throughout this class in these videos. Well, that's it. That's the production possibilities curve. You can show trade-offs and the idea of scarcity. You can show what is possible and what not possible, whether you're producing things that are efficient or not efficient. You can show production growth and decline over time as well. These are all things that you will be asked to do in this class and on the AP test. So, any questions? No, good, no hands raised. Good. If you did raise your hand, hit rewind or watch the video. See you in class.